Look, we from Philly. If you don't know, we run these streets the same way the birds run that NFC East. Giants is weak, Skins is trash. Cowboys every season whoop that ass. Look, it ain't no competition. We here for those who listen. Want nothing but the facts. That ego coalition. We could give two fucks about your trash ass team. Our concern is about that black, that white, that midnight green. The feathers on the helmet, bruh, our hearts indebted. Fly Eagles fly, what it's about, bruh. I said it, look up.
But I just gotta know one thing. Are you ready? No! I said, are you ready?
Back again, steps up. The ball is deflected and loose. Picked up by the Eagles. It's Jernigan. Jernigan down the sideline. No, it's Branham. Nigel Branham picked it up and took it in for a touchdown. And the Eagles have defeated the Dallas Cowboys 37-9.
What's up, Philadelphia? We are live, broadcasting from the beautiful new media studios right outside of Philadelphia. Welcome to the 2017 Week 12 edition of the 4th and Jawn Show. Look, man, all right? Look, listen, we tried to tell you, Cowboys fans, what was going to happen when the Philadelphia Eagles rolled down the Jerry World on Sunday Night Football. We tried to tell you here on this show. The writers tried to tell you on 4thandjawn.com. Gail, even you and I leaving the Denver Broncos game on video. We posted it up on YouTube. We tried to warn the Dallas Cowboys what was going to happen. But what do we hear all week? Oh, you guys ain't beat nobody good. Well, you know what? You're right, and we still have it. What else do we hear? Oh, the injury excuses. We're missing Sean Lee. We're missing our left tackle. We don't have Zeke because he's suspended. Well, hey, guys, listen. I see your injuries because we don't have a running back, a left tackle, and a middle linebacker either. And I raise you one field goal kicker in the game. In the freaking game. We can't kick field goals. We can't kick off. We got a linebacker kicking off. We can't kick extra points. We got to go for two, and you still can't beat us. And what do we hear from them afterwards? How many Super Bowls you got? How many rings you got? Well, you know, Dallas Cowboys fans, you're right. But as far as the 2017 season is concerned, you can take a fucking seat because we'll be busy chasing that there ring. Speaking of which, listen, we've talked a lot on this show about the D word, about the P word, about the FRB word, and most importantly, the SB word. Now, all I want to do right now is set the table for the listening audience, the viewing audience, and all of you here in the studio. Because I don't understand, I don't think we really kind of have wrapped our head around the gravity of the situation yet. The Eagles are 9-1. They just beat the Dallas Cowboys. This division is a lock. We can stop calling it the D word. We won the division. The Dallas Cowboys would have to win out. And we would have to win which isn't going to happen. And we would have to win no more than 2 games, which isn't going to happen. So the division's a lock. Congratulations, Eagles fans. You have just won the division. By proxy, if you win the division, guess what? We can stop calling it the P word because it's now the playoffs. Which, by the way, if you win the division, you host yourself a home game. So congratulations, Philadelphia. Yeah. We have extra football at Lincoln Financial Field, which means an extra tailgate.
Get them playoff tickets.
Now we can move on to the FRB word. First round bye. Because if we get that, it is now 2 home games that we play. By the way, our biggest rivals are the teams that are most dangerous to us right now are the Vikings, a dome team, the Saints, a dome team, and the Rams, a warm weather team. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you don't want to say the SB word, it's not my place here to tell you how to react as a fan. But if you don't look at this particular team and the landscape of the NFC around them, and say that this isn't a Super Bowl contending team, that this team will not fight for a Super Bowl team, and that this team isn't a Super Bowl quality team, I don't know what the fucking tell you anymore here on this podcast. It's time It's time to get fired up. Speaking of getting fired up, a man who was on fire. He was spitting flames from the microphone last week in anticipation for the Dallas Cowboys. He is my partner in the booth. He brings the proof, and he speaks nothing but the truth. My man, Mr. Gale Saunders, how are you today, sir?
Fired up. Still fired up, man.
Hell yes.
You got to feel good about yourself. I mean, a quote. I'm going to quote Aristotle here.
Uh-oh.
You are what you repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. Now, what have the Eagles made a habit of doing? Just being the number one team with the best record, the best rush D, the most offensive touchdowns, the most 20-plus point games, the most 25-point games, 7 straight, 30-plus games in 4 straight, best team in the red zone, best 10-plus yard plays, 10-plus yard rush plays. I mean, this is what this team is. They've shown you who they are, and that's the best thing about it. The national media can say what they want about this team, but this team doesn't need to be validated by them. They validate themselves in the locker room. I mean, you gotta be a fucking asshole to look at this team and not see what they're bringing every single week. I mean, we know what we see, and we're having a great fucking time. A great fucking time doing it.
Well, you just quoted Aristotle. I'll just quote Mr. Charles Kelly. Habits reflect the mission. And I'm sorry that you couldn't get it done, but one Dougie Fresh, Mr. Doug Peterson, certainly is. That was a great quote by you. I like that.
You like that?
That was deep. That was deep in there.
I mean, you just mentioned Doug Peterson.
Mm-hmm.
Think about the ego of an NFL athlete. To get all these guys to buy in has been a tremendous asset. You can't get. I mean, their ego. These guys, they want to get paid. They want to get those bonuses. They want to get those contracts. And guys like Alshon Jeffrey are putting aside numbers in order to get this team W's. Carson Wentz doesn't give a damn if he gets 200 yards a game passing. We don't have a receiver on pace to reach 1,000 yards. We don't have a rusher on pace to reach 1,000.
Nope.
They don't give a fuck. They care about wins.
Absolutely.
And Doug has cultivated something nice in the locker room. So, I mean, oh, man.
And it doesn't matter. It is a rare thing this day and age to see talented, multi-million-dollar athletes. You can look across the NFL and point at other teams where the locker room isn't happy. By the way, thank you, Miami Dolphins. J-Train was rolling against the Dallas Cowboys. You can take a look at all these, high-profile athletes that are just in it for the payday, that their heart isn't in the football. And here in Philadelphia, you have a group of really superior athletes put together by Howie Roseman and this front office, and they're all sharing. They're all sharing. Doug Peterson was on 94 WIP. It was either earlier today or yesterday, and he was asked, how do you keep all these running backs satisfied with the amount of carries that they're getting? And all he said was 9-1. Winning is contagious. When you're winning, dude, you are feeling it. And just to touch on one more thing that I forgot about, Gail, as you were speaking there, remember back in the offseason, Doug Peterson compared this team to like the Packers Super Bowl team and said that, and one of the best he's seen since the Super Bowl Packers teams that he used to play on. And we all crucified him for, Dougie, why would you say that? Why would you set that expectation? Lo and behold,
you can't handle the truth.
We can't handle the truth, and maybe he had a point. Next up is our guy working the social media, even though Twitter isn't working on his laptop at the moment. Mr. Philly Mike, how are you today, sir?
Skip! How about the Cowboys? Yo, what's going on, boys? This team is special. I have nothing else to say, but this team is special. This team is so well-rounded. One of the best defenses in the NFL. One of the best offenses, the top offense in the NFL. Let's do the Wentz versus Prescott comparison, okay? Because we know on Twitter, there's a Wentz versus Prescott, Dak better, Carson better. Wentz played. He had 14 of 27 with 168 yards, 2 touchdowns with a rating of 95.9. Dak Prescott, 18 of 31, 145, 0 touchdowns, 3 interceptions with a rating of 30.4. This team has something going on. Freaking had pressure on Dak the whole entire night. Even though the first half was really shaky. It really was shaky. But I even tweeted out, I said, I'm not in any panic mode. We've been making adjustments this whole season after halftime, and it showed. Scored 30 unanswered points in the second half. Whew. Super Bowl, guys. I know I'm trying to make it 1 week at a time here. But guys, this team is something special going on.
There's no shame in saying it, and again, I can't tell fans how to react to that. We did a little like a mini podcast prior to this show right here this evening for our dude Evan, who's doing it for something at Temple there, and he asked us a question about what it would be like if the Eagles won a Super Bowl. How do you think the city would react? And quite frankly, I don't know. Like, I know it would be joy. I know it would be euphoric in a way. But, you talk to the old heads, and they'll tell you about what a Flyers parade feels like, what raising a Stanley Cup feels like. You talk to some people a little older than me, and they'll remember what a Sixers championship feels like and what it's like to have a parade for the Sixers. I was there during the 2008 run. I was on Broad Street celebrating after the Phillies won the World Series. That was amazing. That was the single best night of my life. Broad Street completely shut down, a sea of red, people, strangers just hugging each other, everything like that. It was amazing. Now, what's an Eagles Super Bowl parade going to be like? I have no idea. I'm not sure, again, going back to the intro, I'm not sure that this fan base even knows really how to grasp what's currently happening right now, let alone what a Super Bowl might be like. But we can start using that word. We can start using that word. There is absolutely no shame in it. Running the soundboard right now is our boy Evan Bubblegum here. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing awesome. I just got to get one thing off my chest real quick. How about them Cowboys, man?
How about them Cowboys?
Oh, my God. It feels so nice. I could really care less about the players so much as the Cowboys fans that I actually know. It is so nice to stick those dirty, rotten cockroach weasels back underneath the bed and just, I'll see you next year, okay? I'll see you next year. Your season's fucking over. The game, it started off slow. Wentz, he actually looked human for one of the first times this season. And but like all other games during this win streak, one thing that happened that has been happening every other game, Doug adjusted at halftime and they dominated the final 30 minutes. The defense, the entire game they were dominating. And someone who really stuck out to me is our first-round pick this year, is Derek Barnett. That dude was menacing, dude. So I just got to say it one more time.
How about them Cowboys?
How about them Cowboys? I freaking love it. Mike, you know what? While you were doing your thing over there, I was looking up, because you mentioned only 9 points, right? They didn't reach the end zone, only 9 points.
Yep.
And for all the excuses that Cowboys fans make as far as the left tackle, the linebacker, running back position, you look at the 2016 Philadelphia Eagles, right?
Yeah.
Here's a team that had woes along the offensive line, who struggled to run the ball simply because they struggled to throw the ball, right? They didn't have anybody who could take a top off of defense. All their pass receivers, I mean, you're talking about DGB. You're talking about Jordan Matthews. You're talking about Nelson Aguilar, who yet to has his head wrapped around his role in this offense. The Eagles scored in that entire season no less than 13 points. So you can feed me all the excuses you want for one game against the Philadelphia Eagles, when all those excuses applied to a Philadelphia Eagles team completely last year through a whole 16-game schedule, and they scored no less than 13 points. Shut the fuck up with your excuses. Hold this L like a little boy and sit your ass in the corner, because your season is done. And a very special guest here in the studio, rocking the Philly Dilly 4th and Jawn shirt.
Hey,
you know him from the tailgates. You love him on Twitter. It is Mr. Classic Jeff. How are you today, my friend?
Doing well. How are you guys tonight? I sense a lot of excitement and energy in the room. Did something good happen on Sunday that I missed?
Maybe.
A little bit.
Maybe.
Little bit.
Yeah, let me tell you, at 10:59, you guys know I work in energy, so I got a lot of friends down in Dallas. I got a great text, 10:59, from one of my best friends who's a Cowboys fan, and he said, "Now it's as I thought it would be." They knew what was coming, folks.
Yep.
They knew the train was rolling into town. They knew they had no shot. And at the end of the day, we proved that we are the best team in the NFC East, and dare I say the NFC, and dare I say the league. You know, there's one thing you didn't mention, EROCK. There is another team I want to mention who maybe has a little bit of a chance. They just fought off a feisty Seattle team Monday night, the Atlanta Falcons, the reigning NFC champions. So I don't want to discount them, but their old home just got blown up. They're in a new home, and I don't know if they're quite ready to christen it.
So they can't pipe in the sound.
I don't think they can. I don't think they can.
Yes. If the playoffs began today, the Eagles would be the number 1 seed and have a bye. The Vikings would be the number 2 seed and have a bye. 3rd seed would be the Saints. 4th seed would be the Rams. 5th seed would be the Panthers. And 6th seed would be the Falcons. The Saints would play the Falcons. The Rams would play the Panthers. Either way you look at that team, the lowest seeded team would then visit the Philadelphia Eagles, whatever seed is the lowest. So you're looking at a Panthers team that we have already beat on a short week in their house.
And we beat the refs, too.
And we beat the refs, too.
Yep.
A Falcons team who's kind of coming into their own and battling, but I don't see them on par with a Philadelphia Eagles team, especially injuries at the running back and stuff like that. New offensive coordinator. That offense simply isn't as potent as it used to be. The Rams, who were shown to be mortal. It's amazing what happens when you shut down Todd Gurley, isn't it? It's amazing what happens when you shut down the run game.
Yep.
They
Goff
look.
looked a little nervous in that game.
What's that?
He looked a little nervous in that game when they couldn't get it going on the offense early. He looked a little rattled, felt very uncomfortable in the pocket, and was erratic with his throws throughout the game. So you saw what a little bit of pressure can do on what we consider a younger guy. But hey, we got a younger guy on our side too.
And then the Vikings, who I respect them as a team. They're good, but I just can't fear Case Keenum. I know he's playing well. I know he's playing at a high level and putting up career numbers. But to me, he strikes me nothing more as like
Alex Smith.
Not even that. Ryan Fitzpatrick 2.0. You know, there's always some journeyman kind of veteran quarterback who's bounced around from team to team that every once in a while will pop up with a team and have a pretty good year. I mean, not top to it would be an average year for any of the top quarterbacks, but Ryan Fitzpatrick, remember with the Jets a couple years ago, was kind of
almost like a poor man's Jeff Garcia.
Like a veteran quarterback has a good year. I just can't fear Case Keenum. I just can't do it. Not with this defense. Not with the pressure that they're applying.
I mean, can they block our defensive line? I don't think so. I don't think a lot of teams in this league can block our defensive line.
They're a lot less dangerous without Dalvin Cook in there in the backfield. The combination of McKinnon and Murray is not something that I would fear. McKinnick's undersized, and we've seen that guy in the backfield for Darren Sproles the last 2 years, so we know how to defend it. And Latavius Murray is just a journeyman running back who's having an okay season.
I mean, if they had Joe Webb starting at quarterback, I'd be a little concerned. A little bit concerned.
Yeah.
You know, you said it earlier, E, that SB feeling, and I'm finally going to say the words.
Wait. Everybody be quiet.
I've been reluctant.
Jeff is going to say it.
My last 2 articles on 4th and Jawn, I said I won't say it, but I'm going to say Super Bowl now. And if you ask me...
Say it with your chest!
Super Bowl! You know, if you asked me this question week 1, would it be a disappointment if the Philadelphia Eagles didn't make the Super Bowl? The answer was no. Because we weren't ready for a Super Bowl run. Everyone, before the season started, said anywhere from, I heard, 7-9 to 10-6. 10-6 being the extreme where people were giving us games that I couldn't have even fathomed we were going to win.
I had him as a 9-win team.
I
had us 9-7.
I was an extremist.
Over 8.5 wins in Vegas to start the season. I laid $100 on it. I won it, so I'm excited about that.
Nice,
but
you can put that towards the Lappy tracker.
Yeah, and we'll get there.
We'll get there.
But to your point, it's a different team than 2004, where we brought in Curse, we brought in Owens. We had been to 3 straight NFC championships. We were absolutely expected to be in that Super Bowl. So, yeah, I'm going to be very disappointed right now if we don't make it to the Super Bowl. We are the team to beat. We're 9-1. We have a top 3 defense in the NFL. We have a top 5-6 offense in the NFL. There's nothing standing in our way for the first-round bye at this point. It's all on our shoulders. And the team believes in themselves. It's just a question of, are we going to hopefully not? Are we going to get past the next couple games injury-free? Because we all see what injuries are doing to our opponents.
Yeah.
Seattle just lost half their defensive backfield.
Cam Chancellor just went down, yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, I think their biggest competition looks themselves in the mirror every morning. So, I mean,
Awesome.
That's how confident I feel about this team.
And their biggest competition looks back and gives a big old smile because they are feeling themselves. I think a little bit what's lost in this entire game, and today I'm not fired up, I'm not riled up, I feel satisfied. Like at Thanksgiving, after you eat that big meal and you want to pop your top button and kind of lean back in the I just feel satisfied. We're all high in here. Yeah, not yet. It's coming. But I feel satisfied because when you look at the Dallas Cowboys, lost in all of this is the fact that they needed this game. This is a game that they had to fight tooth and nail to keep their season alive if they had any chance of reaching the playoffs. Right now, they're sitting at the 10th seed, behind the Packers, behind the Seahawks, and behind the Lions. Man, that's a tough hill to climb. And they came out, and we just dominated them. Now, granted, the first half, a little nervous. I think we can all agree at the first half. No? You weren't?
No.
You weren't?
I wasn't nervous one bit. That's what I was saying earlier. I even tweeted out, I said I'm not even nervous. This whole season, we made adjustments at halftime. I've had text messages, our boy Chizzy and Lacey were getting home, and they're all nervous and everything. I'm like, I'm not even worried. You can even ask them. I wasn't even worried.
I'm sorry.
No, it's just our run game got going in the second half. That was probably the biggest main adjustments that Dougie woke the hell up and said, hey, we need to start running.
The one thing that had me feeling confident is the fact that the defense was absolutely determined this game to keep them out of the end zone. And they did the entire game. When they were getting all the way down there and then they were forced to kick a field goal, that's when I knew that this defense was going to keep this game in check.
Yeah, I saw a nice little stat. I mean, the Eagles' last 5 drives of the first half, they only had 13 yards. And then after the half, I mean, the Eagles' first 3 drives of the second half netted 250 yards and 3 TDs. To me, that tells me that this team is explosive.
Yeah.
And they can run the football when they want to. And once they get the run going, it opens up everything.
Ajayi's fitting right in. He has 15 carries for over 160 yards already. And he's just only played 2 games. I mean, it's just everything.
11.2 yards per carry.
Oh, my God.
And we've only seen the tip of the iceberg with Ajayi. He doesn't know the full playbook yet.
He wasn't even a major piece of us getting to here. I mean, we were, 7-1 without him? Mm-hmm. And now we add in Ajayi with 11 yards a carry?
I said it last year or last week. During the bye week, that somehow this team finds out a way to get better. Mm-hmm. Not only speaking about the J Train there and all he's contributing, but Darby. Wow, does Darby. Welcome back, Darby. And checking all the boxes.
Man.
All right, you want to stick a tackle where there's nothing but Dez Bryant in the end. Dez Bryant, end zone. You have got to make that tackle. There was a blitz going on where it left him one-on-one on the island, and he wrapped up. You check that box. All right, break up a pass in the end zone. Check that box. Pick off a pass. Check. He besides Barnett and besides Bradham's touchdown, Darby looked like the best player on defense out there.
He led the team in tackles. He had 8 tackles.
That is unbelievable.
The stat on Dez Bryant. Targeted 14 fucking times. Catches 8 passes for 63 yards. 4.5 yards per target.
Does he look like a bitch?
Throw up the X. Yes,
throw up the X.
Yes, he did. And we want to get to the phone calls because I know all you guys are hyped up.